What if I told you that the value of diamonds is more of a marketing triumph than a result of natural rarity? This is the story of De Beers, who shaped not just the diamond industry, but the very meaning of these sparkling stones. The idea that a diamond is forever wasn't just born in nature's mines. It was carefully crafted in marketing agencies and across supply chains stretching from Africa to London. But how did De Beers build this empire, control the diamond market, and convince the world that diamonds were essential for love, luxury, and power? Let's find out. The story of De Beers begins in the mid-19th century. In 1867, a young boy playing by the Orange River found a shiny stone that would eventually change the course of history. That stone was a diamond, and soon after, South Africa became the center of a diamond rush. At the heart of this rush was Cecil Rhodes, an ambitious British businessman. In 1871, a massive diamond deposit was discovered in what became known as the Kimberley Mine. He didn't just want to dig for diamonds, he wanted to control the entire supply chain. In 1888, Rhodes founded the De Beers Consolidated Mines Company, which would soon dominate the diamond trade. Rhodes' plan was simple: buy up all the smaller mining operations and establish a monopoly. By controlling the production of diamonds, De Beers could control their price, and by restricting the supply, they could ensure that diamonds remained valuable. But wait, did you know that diamonds at this point weren't seen as the precious symbol they are today? In fact, before the 20th century, diamonds were just another gem, less valued than rubies or emeralds. De Beers was about to change all of that. By the early 1900s, how much of the world's diamond production do you think De Beers controlled? A staggering 90%. But simply controlling supply wasn't enough. Rhodes and his successors, most notably Sir Ernest Oppenheimer, knew that they needed to create demand. And for that, they turned to one of the most successful marketing campaigns in history. In 1947, De Beers commissioned an advertising agency called N.W. Ayer. The slogan they created, "A diamond is forever," became a cultural touchstone. It wasn't just a tagline, it was a brilliant psychological maneuver. By associating diamonds with love and eternity, De Beers made sure that diamonds were no longer just a luxury item, they became essential for every engagement and marriage. The campaign worked beyond De Beers' wildest dreams. Sales soared, and diamonds became the go-to symbol of love and commitment. And since "a diamond is forever" implied that these stones shouldn't be resold, De Beers' grip on the supply further tightened. De Beers wasn't just selling diamonds, they were selling an ideal, a tradition, a cultural necessity. Behind the glitz and glamour of the forever diamond was a ruthless strategy to maintain control over the global diamond trade. Using a mix of supply manipulation, price fixing, and strategic hoarding to maintain its dominance. The company set up what was known as the Central Selling Organization, or CSO, a system that allowed De Beers to buy up diamonds from various producers and then control the release of those diamonds into the market. This created the illusion of scarcity and kept prices high. Even during economic downturns, De Beers would restrict the flow of diamonds, ensuring that the market wouldn't be flooded and that prices wouldn't plummet. Their dominance was so total that even rival mining companies had no choice but to sell their diamonds through De Beers. If you were a producer of diamonds, you either played by De Beers' rules or you didn't play at all. They maintained close relationships with governments, particularly in diamond-rich African nations like Botswana and Namibia. In exchange for lucrative mining rights, De Beers offered these countries a share in the profits, ensuring that they had a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. For decades, De Beers' monopoly seemed unshakable. They had created a market, controlled the supply, and sold a dream. But could such control last forever? As the 20th century drew to a close, cracks began to appear in their carefully constructed empire. The 1990s brought new challenges to De Beers. First, there was the rise of new diamond-producing regions, particularly in Russia and Canada. These countries, unlike the African nations that had traditionally been the source of De Beers diamonds, weren't as keen to sell their gems through De Beers' centralized system. In Russia, the vast diamond mines of Siberia were producing large quantities of diamonds. These new players didn't want to be part of De Beers' cartel. They wanted to sell their diamonds in the open market. This influx of diamonds threatened to weaken De Beers' grip on the industry. But was it just competition that was undermining De Beers' dominance? No, the diamond industry was also facing an ethical crisis. The late 1990s and early 2000s saw increasing awareness of the so-called blood diamonds, diamonds that were mined in war zones and used to fund conflicts, particularly in Africa. The most infamous of these conflicts was in Sierra Leone, where rebel groups used the profits from diamond sales to fuel a brutal civil war. Images of child soldiers, mutilations, and mass atrocities horrified the world, and soon the once glamorous diamond was being associated with violence and suffering. De Beers, along with other major diamond companies, had to act quickly to protect their reputation. In 2003, the Kimberley process was introduced, an international certification scheme designed to prevent the trade in blood diamonds. While De Beers supported the Kimberley process, its legacy of monopolistic control and the association of diamonds with conflict left a stain on its image. By the early 21st century, De Beers' monopoly was beginning to crumble. In 2000, De Beers made a monumental decision. They would no longer buy up diamonds from other producers in an attempt to control the market. Instead, they would focus on becoming a competitive company in a free market. This decision marked the end of De Beers as a monopolistic power. The company that had once controlled 90% of the world's diamonds now controlled less than 40%. And as more independent producers entered the market, the price-fixing mechanisms that De Beers had relied on for so long became less effective. At the same time, consumer attitudes were changing. The ethical concerns surrounding diamonds, the new competitive and ethical landscape, was one they couldn't fully control. The age of the De Beers monopoly was over. Despite the fall of its monopoly, De Beers remains one of the most significant players in the diamond industry. Today, the company has shifted its focus from controlling the market to building a sustainable and ethical diamond business. They've embraced the Kimberley process, pledged to improve conditions for miners in Africa, and even ventured into the world of synthetic diamonds with their own line of lab-grown gems. But the legacy of De Beers is one that is hard to shake. For over a century, they didn't just mine diamonds, they mined culture. They created a narrative that turned a relatively common gemstone into the ultimate symbol of love, wealth, and status. And while the diamond industry has changed, the cultural power of diamonds, forged in part by De Beers, remains as strong as ever. And that's the story of De Beers and the diamond trade, a tale of ambition, monopoly, and brilliant marketing that shaped not only an industry, but the way we perceive one of nature's most common gems. From controlling the supply and demand of diamonds to creating the myth of their everlasting significance, De Beers crafted a legacy that goes far beyond mining. As competition continues to rise and the ethical landscape evolves, De Beers is no longer the unstoppable force it once was, but its influence remains embedded in the glittering stones that continue to captivate us. Their journey serves as a testament to the power of narrative and how a single company can turn a commodity into a global symbol of love and luxury. So, the next time you see a sparkling diamond, remember that it's not just a stone, it's a narrative, one crafted by De Beers, a company that forever changed the world of luxury and trade. That is all for this video. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how De Beers established itself as the world's most important diamond company, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more stories just like this. Thanks for watching.